But have you, yeah, you said that you haven't done, you haven't kind of dove into any of the brain based or any of the, studying.
Yeah, it's
What
kind
have
of
you been
like
doing instead?
it's been kind of like put on the back burner, but I think I'm starting to get an itch to kind of start studying a little bit
Mm-hmm.
more. Um, Things have been kind of steady of late
Mm-hmm.
with work, so I feel like I haven't needed to like go and look at the books of late.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but lately, I've been just working with clients. I've been working on my stream that
Mm-hmm.
I've been trying to
Yeah.
build.
Saw that. Well, how
uh,
many hours were you consistently on a stream for, did you say?
you have to. There's like certain things you have to do in order to get like different levels of notoriety, I guess.
Uh-huh.
So like when you first start streaming on Twitch,
Yeah.
Twitch is like a broadcast place where people have like, it's known for their games, but like people stream about anything like
Mm-hmm.
news, topics. I mean, I see us being on there pretty soon where we can just like stream our podcast live.
Oh, okay.
So if anyone's interested in that, please let me
I
know.
wanted to say something about that, but I'll remind myself later to bring it up. But yeah, keep
Uh,
going.
but so I've been working on trying to learn how to like broadcast
Mm-hmm.
through like software
Mm-hmm.
and how to like make it so there's like a scene and like there's like things that are actually on the screen that you can control, like kind of
Yeah.
like when you watch the news, you see the bottom that has like the words and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can pretty much do all that and I can make it look like a freaking TV show if I wanted, but
Wow.
it takes a lot of work.
Huh.
But I've been working on just trying to understand that, and
Mm-hmm.
I launched my stream, and I've had a couple streams, and I have 12 followers now.
Wow.
So the
Damn.
first step is you want to reach 50 followers.
Okay.
Uh,
And they call it
just
what? They call it subs, I think, is like the terminology on
followers,
there. Oh, okay.
subs,
Or is that something different?
subscription is like a paid thing where it's like if
Oh,
I offer content,
got it.
they can subscribe to that and then
Okay.
they get it. Um, Hopefully, I can build some of that out later, but
Yeah.
right now, just kind of taking it slow.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you get 50, then you get to the next level, and then
Okay.
it unlocks more like more things that you can do via like trying to create an audience,
Mm-hmm.
so or a community. So um, yeah, it's fun. It's like my little hobby baby thing I do on the side now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I've been putting a lot of time in trying to understand that of late. And
Nice.
yeah, so I've
That's awesome, dude.
met a couple people online that are super nice and cool. So that's all. It's really nice place to like have a community. I feel like it's really hard in this time of day
Yeah.
where it's like, COVID's going on, and it's really hard to kind of stay in touch with your type of people. So this
Yeah.
gives me like another way of connecting with my people, I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
or
Yeah.
creating a space.
Definitely. I can't say, like I said, I know anything about really anything about Twitch besides what it is, like the
Yeah.
concept, because I've never used it myself, but that's really cool. I wanted to ask you, how do you, and maybe this is just something that's intuitive to the platform, but how do you get across to other people? Like how do people find you, I
Yeah,
guess?
the discoverability
Uh-huh.
is pretty low because there's a lot of people that are doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's just based off of like word of mouth for me.
Okay.
Um, but what I want to start considering is a different form of content, just like what we do with like fitness, like you or health and fitness. On Instagram, you create, these little small videos where people can like instantly follow it and watch it, and they can start to get to know you and what you can offer. So I need to create a filter where people can find me, like when, 24 hours out of the day, whenever, like, and that would be YouTube. So this is going to be like sort of like Miles Above Fitness, but this brand, or my vision that I have for Miles Beyond Gaming is for like a platform or a place where I can create content for gamers, and they can like work on, their health and connecting to their body. Because just like the people I work with in Miles Above Fitness, like the busy, CEO, a lot of stuff on their plate kind of people, where they need, time for their health, and really try to like be effective with their movement and their training. They have something similar. They might spend a lot of time in front of a screen.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, like I've always been a gamer, and maybe I haven't done it in the last couple of years, but I feel like those have always been my people that I enjoy being around and having relationships with, because we're so like similar in the sense of what the things that we really enjoy.
Yeah.
So this is my like attempt to like try to bridge that gap where I can like, really be close to my people that I really enjoy working with or being around, and try to like support them in some way, especially with all the stuff that I know about the brain and the effects that like, the visual system staring at a screen can affect us.
Yeah.
And it's like gaming is like this word that I thought about. Gaming is like this really kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It's like you can kind of think about it. It's kind of like I want to say a drug, but what's the word I was going to use? I had it all in my head. Gaming is like it's just something that like people really enjoy doing. I wouldn't say it's a drug, but it's something that people enjoy doing, and there, as much as it's so much fun to do, there are some downsides to it. Like you could really get yourself stuck in playing. You can we talked about it in the past, like feeling like you're getting pulled to go and do that. The physicalness of it, like sitting and moving your hands and watching what's on the screen and trying to process it, and then be able to like input it into the controller. And then like with like virtual reality coming out now, it's like now you're getting like a whole body experience where you can like physically feel like you're in a game. And you're like, your body can, really, I hear Nala in the back crying. I need to let her in. But like you physically could, that could have some impact in your health. It's not, I wouldn't say, you shouldn't do it, but maybe understanding why that's the case could really allow you to, enjoy that experience, but also like consider your wellness.
Yeah, go let Nala in.
Oh, I'm right here.
There she is.
I didn't leave. I don't know. Can you hear the
it's faint.
washer?
It's faint, yeah. It's okay.
Okay. I'll just close the door. Okay, hang out, Noah. we're getting the real experience.
Yeah, that's really interesting, and I think that it's such a, I don't know, it's different. I mean, I feel like in this day and age, it's hard to like create something, or be, it's hard to find like your niche or like,
Yeah.
what makes you different is like a hard question to answer.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely like, in as far as, if as far into gaming as I've been, haven't heard of someone else doing something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it's really cool. And both of us are involved in gaming, so we know what it's like to be around people who are in the space but don't know, like you said, like then there's a negative and positive side of the spectrum. And it's like, when maybe does it become negative, for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. I'm excited for your following to build, and for you, to have that I don't know, that foundation, I guess, on there.
Yeah. It's trying to have fun. I think that's the big thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to have fun and, meet people, make connections.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I think the real reason why I'm doing this is, I think it has to do with like what I've been through
Mm-hmm.
and like having issues with balancing like something that I really enjoy doing in my and then feeling bad about it,
Mm-hmm.
or really feeling the pain and the suffering of like um of not moving enough,
Mm-hmm.
and really kind of staying in the zone with what I'm playing, or like losing touch of like other facets of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that people are dealing with that too. I know that like people are having like their back hurts so bad and they just want to like hang out with their friends online.
Yeah.
But or you can come up with a lot of things, but I think it's a little passion project that I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing. And
That's a good.
uh,
I like that. It's catchy. Passion project.
yeah. And if it doesn't, if it like I'm trying not to have any like huge expectations. I think I'm a visionary at heart, where I really think about like what impact I can make,
Mm-hmm.
and how this could be like super helpful for people.
Mm-hmm.
And I can really kind of stress myself out with like trying to like make it come to existence.
Yeah.
Just knowing that about myself is helpful, because um, I I tend to lose the happiness and the fun along the way if I get too like uh, um, my expectations get too like rampant, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, like I'm failing at this, I'm failing at that.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to take my time and just try to enjoy it, learn something new,
Mm-hmm.
um, and yeah, I'm lucky that I have the privilege to do that.
Definitely. Yeah, I was gonna say that gaming also. I mean, I don't. I guess it depends on the way that you use privilege, but it's not a cheap thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and I'm fortunate too, and yeah, it's just one of those things. Like we talked about on I think our first gaming podcast, when we were talking about like where it came from for both of us and how young we were
yeah,
when we started.
yeah.
Just like wanting that system, or like, can we,
Uh-huh.
will our parents be able to buy it for us, or even being on
Yeah,
that end of it. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, it is a privilege, and it's yeah, I like that. I think we are expectations, like we're expectation fiends. Like
Mhm.
I think that's just the mind itself. It's like creating a story or an idea of like what something should be versus what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
it's important. And the one time that I did join uh, your Twitch or your stream, that is one word I would say, if I wanted to label what I was seeing and
Yeah,
seeing you like play the game, is like you were having like fun. You were genuinely having fun.
yeah,
It wasn't you like getting like almost like signing on to teach a class or instruct something. Where you're
yeah,
kind of like, okay, like, you know, I'm like on the border of having fun and also like trying to do something for, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And then, I mean, I think what I envision with if people were to come and subscribe and, or not subscribe, follow and
Mm-hmm.
watch me
Mm-hmm.
is that like that in time I can create a space where people can ask like questions about health
Mm-hmm.
and like, you know, have Q&A and like talk about things and possibly lead class in some sort of way for the gaming community.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's just, yeah, that's kind of like my
Yeah.
vision, and I'm just kind of taking my time.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Hey,
and
it's
I
giving
still
me
have
goosebumps
another.
just hearing about it. So.
There's, I mean, I'm gonna do a shout out, but there's someone doing it on kind of like the mental health front,
Mm-hmm.
and his channel and his like his name is called the Healthy Gamer.
Oh, okay. So there is
Um,
someone else in this. See, I don't
yeah,
know
so
as
I
much.
I did some research on it, and he's actually a psychologist, and he has, you know, more like these deep conversations with, you know, he has gamers come on and they do an interview, and like
Mm-hmm.
people can watch it and like,
Yeah.
you know, really kind of understand the gaming, you know, what brings us to gaming and like the healthy, um, just kind of the things that people deal with on a mental health standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been kind of like looking up to him and seeing how he's doing it, and and yeah, so it's possible, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
But I think there's yeah, people gravitate towards it. It's new. It's like, how can we, because when you think about like someone being, you know, the stereotypical like gamer, right? You
Yeah.
think about
I play with
someone
them all the
that's
time.
like you have someone sitting in a hot room and
Uh-huh.
sitting in front of a computer or a TV, and they're spending hours, you know, playing, and you know, whatever their agenda of what the game is having them do, or maybe they're spending time with their friends or whatever. It's pretty demanding on your nervous system, and I think that's what I want people to hopefully learn about and also like learn how they can like maintain and think about like the longevity of like something that they really enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
um and I think it falls right in line with like what I'm already doing,
Yeah.
but trying to market it in a way where we can also uh, create a community for people that um, are looking for like help in
Mm-hmm.
this sector. Uh, yeah, so
Yeah. No, it's I genuinely love it because there is within the game that I play, there are rare times, but there have been times that I've experienced already playing this game, you know, or playing it again from,
uh
you know, like I said, it's kind of occurred at different points in my life. Like the first time I played this specific game, I was like 12 or 13 years old. Coming back, and then I came back to it, I think when I was around a senior, 18, 19. And then I
mhm.
stopped again. And now I'm starting again at I'm 28, 29 years old.
Yeah,
So it's an interesting experience to have in certain parts of your life and and maybe compare it, although comparing sometimes can be a bad thing,
yeah,
depending on how you use it. Um, there are now I'm experiencing, because I'm a lot older and you come with the wisdom that maybe, you know, you've grown with over time.
mhm.
Um, there are gamers that like maybe play the game that you play or that I play, that also stream, and they don't have the tools to maybe, like you said, like assess their feelings towards gaming or mental health issues or things of that nature, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain. And there's been rare moments in the game, like I said, that where there maybe was a massive influencer within the game that
Mhm.
passed away because of some type of mental health issue.
Yeah,
Um, and some self-harm cause, you know,
Yeah.
and you can tell how it hits the rest of the gaming community within that game. It's like
Yeah.
it's totally like energy that like explodes outward, and you because there's a chat, there's obviously a world chat in the game that I play, so
Yeah.
people will talk about it, and then it's like it's for that moment people snap out and they're like, oh, this is like we're all playing in this virtual world, but
Yeah.
we're still people, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
funny because I constantly think about like gaming is almost like cars driving on a highway. It's like you can have road rage, and for a moment you see this car is like not a person, you
Hmm.
know. They're this thing
Hmm.
that cuts you off, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And then you get like sucked back, and you see this person eye to eye, and you're like, oh wait, it's just another person, you know. It's like,
Hmm.
shit, what am I doing?
Hmm. Yeah. It's
um
good. Good analogy.
so yeah, so I constantly have to, I know, remind myself that, and then I try to talk to other people, and I think it's also hard. So maybe because you're intending this to be that way, it's easier for
Hmm.
you versus like playing the game and like chatting in game or something like that
Hmm.
about something like this, where people almost get kind of like defensive, you
Yeah.
know?
It's a little. Yeah. I definitely understand that it's a tough crowd. It's a
Mm-hmm.
tough crowd
Yeah.
because of the people. The reason why a lot of people play video games, and I could be totally missing the mark for some people, but I think for me, I think the reason why I played video games in the very beginning was because I was in I was abused, and I was like uh I didn't really have a lot of friends. I didn't um I was bullied at school. Um I was, it was like a place where I like harbored a lot of my pain. And so like when I could like go and play a video game, I could I could literally like escape how I was feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and and uh and basically like use that as a way of healing, or a way of like maybe even isolating myself in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those conversations are it's important for maybe an individual to like maybe understand about themselves. And then also like, just back to your car analogy, like we at the most of it, like we could play video games for the rest of our lives, but we're still human, and like that has that has an impact on, our health,
Mm-hmm.
our longevity of our life and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
I think some people are so willing to like bash gaming and be like, "Oh, it's bad for you. You shouldn't do it. That's a waste of time," or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you can come up with.
Yeah.
Um, but I think putting the person first and trying to create, a space where they can do what they want, but also, um, you know, find support in like, okay, like why is my back hurting, or like why is it like um my legs, I can't exercise, or like
Mm-hmm.
I can't move. And just kind of like making those connections between like the real life, physical body that you live in
Mm-hmm.
versus like the body you live in a video game.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
yeah, kind of deep, but
No,
uh
it's I always think about like when I'm thinking of when the way that you described it, I like have this image of like, I don't know if you watched it when you were a kid and there was another rendition of it, but Tron, like
okay.
Tron Legacy or Tron,
Uh-huh.
where it's like this guy who's just like, I wondered so much about like what was in the game that I literally went into the game, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
And it's just a
exactly,
funny thing, you know, like
exactly.
it's, yeah, it's cool. But no,
It's
yeah.
yeah. I think it's just we're coming up to that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's 2021. It's crazy to say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all had a tough year last year. Um, I think technology as a whole is like, y- it's getting better and better. video games and like the whole gaming industry is like a multi-billionaire.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like it makes so much money. You see like pro gamers that
Mm-hmm.
are like, making a living, streamers that are like playing video games for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Uh, and, and I think that's where it's like, oh, I see how like this needs to be supported a little bit better,
Mm-hmm.
because as much as like we have the technology, we have the means to play and stuff like that, like we still are like humans, and we're still like, it's nothing new. Like a lot of people are staring at their computers and their screens
Yeah.
all day,
Yeah.
and
Or their
uh,
screens, phones, whatever.
phones, whatever it is. And I think ultimately the mission is to like, you know, not let that like be so detrimental to our health.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's very true. But there's a weird hierarchy that exists within which screen and what are you watching or doing on the screen, kind of thing.
yeah, that matters.
Yeah.
It's like a little, it's it could be like very judgmental, like
Mm-hmm.
what I'm looking on the screen is, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah. Exactly.
What you're doing over there, I don't know about that. Like that's really bad.
Yeah.
But in the same thing, like just getting, you're still activating your brain at a high level
Mm-hmm.
with all this light hitting your eyes and
Mm-hmm.
and all this like stimulus that you're receiving. So
Yeah. It's deep. It's
yeah, I
fun
mean,
though. Fun to talk about.
yeah, I hope people enjoy this because I'm just kind of, rambling off.
Yeah.
But
I don't know why though. It's a rare moment for me where like also in movement, like I'm a movement geek as well. And I've become a brain geek really
yeah,
over the course of quarantine, thanks to
uh-huh,
you. But I this is another area where it's just like if you can find an intersection on this graph between like something you have a passion for or love to do
yeah,
and something else that you've grown to love to do, it's like it's such a fun, I like I said, I love using that word, it's a fun thing. And that's where
yeah,
you've kind of gotten your stream in like you said, in your expectations and your vision of it is like you found like maybe the perfect x and y axis of like what you've loved to do in the past as a child and growing
mhm.
up, and what you also are passionate about in your work and helping people.
Yeah. It's interesting because you say that and I'm like, whoa, like I didn't notice that, like that's where I'm like coming across,
Mm-hmm.
because over here it feels like, you know, it's hectic. It's like,
Yeah.
what am I doing with my life? It's like, I think that's always a thought that I've had, is like, how do I, make a living? How do I like make a difference? How do
Mm-hmm.
I, all these expectations of like myself, and like, and then having a good relationship with my partner, and
Yeah.
being like, all these like things that we as humans, have these roles and these things that we're trying to like uh live up to, and it's not easy. And yeah, and I have hope that I'll if I just keep on moving forward, that like things will start to click more and more, just like they used to click in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just the living in the presence, going through the process, making changes as you go, trying to like, find what you're passionate about, and like try to find where they intersect. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a great visual to have. Um, because like you, like I'm into the body, I'm into the mind and the brain and how it works, and how we can create things specific to you that will help you get to that access of like, oh, this is really where I want to be. Like this is what feels good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess I didn't even think about it like that. It's cool though that you bring me back to there. You're always showing me a different way to see the same thing.
You
And,
too. You show me things that I didn't.
but and I appreciate that, because while I can view it as something like that's like lighthearted fun, it's so cool. Like you found this thing, you're also like, yeah, well, it is very hectic to when you're finding your thing, because you're weeding through like this forest, and
Yeah.
sometimes you get lost, and that is really important, you know. Um, but yeah, I mean, yeah, finding your way is really really hard. I can't even
Mhm.
imagine. I mean, like I said, you're doing a lot of work in this area right now, and but I'm sure there is like there's tolls that you pay on the way there, you know.
Mhm. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm not really, just to talk about the gaming community. Like I think I've always been involved in some way. Um, but I think I'm still kind of new to kind of the bigger figures in the community,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just trying to watch from afar and continue to like learn and do things, and see where maybe people need help in or support in, versus like doing something that someone is already doing.
Mm-hmm.
um, just looking for
Yeah, that makes
a
sense.
problem to fix, I guess.
Yeah. Do you feel like do you ever get kind of nervous when you're on stream, when you're streaming yourself, when you go live?
No, it's weird. It's weird because it's like it's me at my bare bones.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if anything, I've always used video games as like a place to escape, and no one really kind of like sees me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but to be able to like let people in and and be able to like have more of a community and conversations about things, um, it feels natural in a way, and
Mm-hmm.
that's weird because you know how I am with like Instagram and stuff. Like I don't want to
Yeah.
like shoot a video or anything
Mm-hmm.
like that,
Yeah.
but for some reason, like it's like the camera's running,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that like the people that will be watching will be the ones that really will appreciate and understand me. And because I know that like deep down I'm a gamer,
Mm-hmm.
like I like to play video games, and I think
Okay.
that I can never really get that away.
Yeah.
um and
So could it could be a so maybe it is do you think it's a difference, it's the audience that makes a difference, like you're
yeah.
almost like you're accepted by the audience on Twitch versus like Instagram, there's like it's so diluted with and it's so saturated with like movement coaches and strength trainers and
uh
you know.
yeah, I think it's hard for me to stand in front of like a health and fitness audience. Like I
Mm-hmm.
think I could do it, and I've been doing it for a while,
Mm-hmm.
but I think when it comes to like Instagram, I think just having like so many bad experiences with like other coaches and other job places that I worked, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everyone has like this opinion on like this is like the right way, and and not and not being able to like zoom out a little bit more to see that like, well, this is pretty complex, so it's like you can't really, you know I mean, we're still learning about movement, the brain,
Mm-hmm.
nutrition, and I just feel like it's hard to like, there's a lot of critics, a lot
Yeah.
of skeptics in the health and fitness
Mm-hmm.
realm,
Yeah. And like
and
false pride.
yeah, and it's just really prideful.
Yeah.
So I feel, and I could be totally wrong,
Yeah.
maybe that same kind of stuff is in the gaming gaming
Community. Yeah.
community where I haven't came across it yet.
Uh-huh.
But
And it's also it's a feeling like you can have that feeling towards what you've experienced. It's not wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so yeah. But yeah, so yeah, continue about, you were talking about streaming before I asked you that question.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
so you don't get nervous as much when you're doing that.
no, it's because like I don't feel like I mean, I haven't put my work out in front of the people yet. I think I've been like doing just being myself. But maybe that's the place that I want to create, is just a place where, you know, people support people instead of like me like overseeing everything. And I think it's easy to like just show up in that and be like, you know, here's my problems, this is what I deal with, and these are the things I've noticed with like why I play video games, or what has helped me with movement and staring at a computer for 2 hours.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's really cool.
yeah.
Because you, like I said, I can only base a lot of this off of the one time I was in your channel, and you just look like you were like not even like batting an eye. It was like, dude, I'm having fun, like I'm doing my thing, you know. The camera just happens to be there.
Yeah, it's interesting. I have to think about that some more. But yeah, I think what I was saying earlier about like, I think I've had a lot of bad experiences in the health and fitness community. I think Z Health and being a part of their community has like totally changed that. But I know that like as a whole industry, that's not all. It's not the case for, you know, people look at Z Health and they like, those people are crazy. Like they're talking about the brain and stuff like that, and they can't even make a conclusion, or they can't even make the connection that like our brain has to do with movement. You know what I mean?
That
As
it's
simple as
involved
that.
in any way.
Yeah, like it has. Why would someone learn about the brain when it comes to being a personal trainer?
Yeah.
Or something like that, or
Yeah.
a coach. So
in the games,
it's a hard battle to win in the masses, because it's just, we're not really there yet. Like people don't really make that connection. But yeah, and it just feels, it's starting to feel like there's already a lot of people doing that. You know, there's a lot of people that are pressing that button a lot with the health and fitness. And I think with brain-based coaching and training and stuff like that, we're definitely pushing a different button. But I think it comes down to like where I see myself putting a lot of my energy and what I'm passionate about, and getting closer to like truly where I could, you know, really be happy, is kind of like where I'm like changing or like altering or tweaking like my path. Like I can continue to like go down the health and fitness route, and I probably am in some capacity, but not doing it just mindlessly and then losing myself along the way. It's like, what is it that Miles wants to do? What does Miles want to, you know, stand up for, or, you know, talk about, or whatever, and then create more traction there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I totally get that. I think that, that you hit it on the head. It almost weirdly feels like sometimes, because I'm learning about the brain, that I'm like, I find myself, and maybe you feel this way. I can't speak for everyone, but I find myself like kind of almost like having to constantly fight against everything else now. Like, you know, like I get caught sometimes like defending. I'm like, it's not even it. This is just what is. I'm not like, I didn't come up with anything new. I didn't create the brain. I don't create these connections or these signals. I'm telling you something, you know.
These are facts.
These like it's like, it makes no sense. And against people who are like, who also haven't don't wear the lab coat and don't do the case studies, but are, you know, I find it funny sometimes, but also I get caught up in it, and it works on me, you know. And I just have to let it go every now and again, and just like like take a breath out and be like, okay, like if that's what you believe, I'm not here. I wasn't put on this earth to change your mind.
Yeah. You're not here to convince anyone, or,
Yeah.
you know, you're just trying
So,
to provide support.
and
I think
yeah,
there's a
whether it's
difference there.
exactly, and whether it's a client or another trainer or a coach, you know, it's just like, that's why I when, if even in the gym, like when we used to train in the gym or work out in the gym, it's been a while, but like being around like a lot of other brains, you know,
Mhm.
brains walking around with, you know, it's
Mhm.
like you just got to know. I've always kept to myself, and I think that I've known that that feels a lot more safe than being very outward.
Mhm.
Um, and it's funny because I also feel like, and this is again how I saw things from my two eyes, in performance gains, um, just maybe how to yourself, and and quiet you were with a lot of the knowledge that you had in the gym,
Yeah.
that might have conflicted with a lot of other knowledge around the gym, you know.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's a, yeah, it's a very, it's a weird space that's hard to navigate, and you're constantly like worrying if you're going to like offend somebody in their approach or their methods.
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
but I definitely feel that, because yeah, it's different, especially in the Z health community and brain based and neurology. It's like it's yeah, it's hard to like merge those two. I don't know
Mhm.
where the bridge is.
Mhm. Yeah. I think what I said earlier, it's like you start to you start to gather your these information, and you start to understand that a lot of the time in the past, for me, for my career early on, like I was trying to convince someone, you're paying me money to convince you that eating chicken is good for you. Or,
Hmm.
I mean, that's a lame idea, but
Yeah, but it
uh
gets the point across. Yeah.
yeah, it's like you need to squat in order to, you know, have this or have that. Like
Hmm.
I'm convincing you
Yeah.
that that is what you need.
Hmm.
And I feel like that is a bad way of coaching or helping someone, because it doesn't ever take them for who they are and what they've been through in their health and their health history,
Hmm.
and so you're not even holding space for that person. You're pointing your finger in a
Yeah.
direction, and you don't really get anywhere with that when you coach someone.
Yeah.
So, or you support someone in that space. So I think a lot of early on, when I was trying to learn stuff, my lens was, how do I learn this so I can convince someone that this is what they need to do?
Hmm.
How do I know it well enough where I can just like, this is what you should do.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because you expect that and Z health kind of sets you up like that, that it's like what you're learning right now. If you're gonna start practicing and teaching neurology to you know, general folk, just people off the street,
yeah,
there's gonna be a lot of why. Like, why
yeah,
are you having me do this?
yeah, yeah. And I think it's human for us to be like, to have that feeling like,
Mm-hmm.
why is it that this is the way of doing it?
Mm-hmm.
Because that doesn't really, fall in line with like what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then some people get in that in between, like they'll do everything someone wants them to do, and then down the line they'll be like scratching their head like, you know what about like I have a great body. This is what happened to me. Like, oh, I have a great body. I have, I feel good in my skin, I this or that, but I can't sleep at night because I have nightmares. Or
Mm-hmm.
uh you know these other things that happen that like, you have your heart hurts or you're having pain in your body. Like
Yeah.
those are things that what you convince someone to do is the result of what you're prescribing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Yeah. That makes a lot of
hopefully I
sense, actually.
paint a picture, but I think it's through assessments and conversations and like testing and being thorough with your movement. I mean, if you have never worked with a Z Health coach or a brain-based coach, it's
Mm-hmm.
like we want to really kind of like whatever we're having you do, we want to make sure that like we're understanding the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's good or bad, we're just trying to understand what is happening in the body
Yeah.
versus just guessing
Yeah.
and having you do this squat
Yep.
and then then they have a Achilles tear like
Yeah.
6 months down the line.
Yeah. So there's never bad information. There's just information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that. Well, that was a weird segue from game. I mean, it wasn't weird. Technically, we were talking about it all like in a condensed gaming package.
you
But
be quick on your feet.
yeah, exactly. Dude, yeah, that's amazing. I actually cannot wait to like I said for your channel to take off or not even can't wait. I mean, that's almost implying that it's not here now, right? So
Yeah, it's I'm here
yeah,
and
exactly.
we're just gonna go with it and see how it goes.
Yeah.
Everything else is still going with everything else. It just
Mm-hmm.
with the time that we've had over this last year, it's been a little bit more downtime. You get to think about like your life and where it's going and sit with yourself a little bit more. And I think there's a lot of good that has come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just kind of riding this wave of life.
Yeah.
Some days the waves are gonna suck. Sometimes the waves are gonna be really good.
Yeah.
And then sometimes the waves are just gonna be really big and they're gonna be really scary.
Yeah. And you make
And
that choice whether you want to ride them or not.
yeah.
That's good. I love that analogy. That was a nice, very fitting for you. How do you? One last question, I guess, about your Twitch because I'm genuinely interested. Do you have times that are allotted to when you go on? Is it a reoccurring thing, or is it just when you feel like you want to do it?
So that's the big next step is creating a schedule,
Mm-hmm.
like a time where you can expect me to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been thinking about it a lot and trying to think about what I can commit to, at least so my audience knows that they're there and they can come watch.
Yeah, because I'm in that category too. I would like to know.
maybe I'll come up. Maybe next time we talk, I can let you guys know. But it's probably looking at like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday kind of schedule at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of like where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really early, but I'm hoping that I can create like a little bit more awareness on like when I'm gonna come on.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, probably the next week, it's just gonna be like a little bit more random.
Yeah.
But I think if you follow me on Twitch or follow me on Twitter, I can let you guys know.
Nice. Well, that's good to know. Yeah, like I said, I'm excited. I almost wish you were doing it right now so I could hop on, and like it's almost like I don't know, like I explained it the same way, but it's like watching skate videos for me. It's like you almost feel like you're like skating or snowboard videos, whatever, surf videos,
Yeah, let's hang out. That's all I want to do right now.
Yeah, you're just hanging.
Let's hanging out.
But yeah, all right. Well, it was good talking.
Well, yeah. Looking forward to the next one.
Yep, as always. All right.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and see you next time.
See you next time.